a CBC color presentation.
CBC Sports presents live and in color from Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. It's the 1970 Super Bowl. Today, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Today's NFL game brought to you by General Motors of Canada Limited on behalf of GM dealers throughout Canada, to invite you to see and drive the new Mark of Excellence cars for 1970.
And now, here are the commentators for today's game: Jack Buck, Frank Gifford, Pat Summerall, and Jack Whitaker.
Hello again. We're at the Sugar Bowl, Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. And it is time for the Super Bowl. Hi, I'm Jack Buck, Pat Summerall alongside, and believe it or not, there's one thing that hasn't been said about this game to this point.
Obviously, both coaches and both teams have a tremendous amount of respect for each other, but the thing that Jack Buck is referring to is something that Bud Grant told me during the week. And that is that Kansas City is the type of team, a physical team, a hitting team that Minnesota has had trouble with throughout the entire year. They expect a tough game.
And you know what the Vikings have accomplished to get here in the Super Bowl? We're going to meet the Minnesota team right now. The first to be introduced will be Gene Washington, their outstanding wide receiver, number 84. This fella caught 9 touchdown passes during this year. He's a Michigan State alumnus.
And he's the home run hitter of the Minnesota offense. Great speed, good hands, and he has really developed.
Gene Washington, number 84. This is Brady Alderman at left tackle on offense, number 67.
Alderman, the only member from the original expansion draft, still left with a Minnesota team. Small for an offensive tackle, but very, very effective.
Number 63 is Jim Balone, their left guard.
Balone, 6'3", 255, the strongest member of the offensive front line.
And the perennial All-League, Nick Tingelhoff at center, number 53.
Signed as a free agent from Nebraska.
Milt Sunday, number 64. He's their right guard.
The 20th draft choice, 6'2" and 250.
Ron Yeri, number 73 at right tackle.
Their first draft choice of last year.
Here's the tight end, John Beasley, played at California.
Beasley, a fine blocker with good size as well.
The other wide receiver is John Henderson from Michigan, number 80.
And like Gene Washington, he too has great speed.
Here's Joe Kapp, the Minnesota quarterback, number 11.
And what else need be said about him?
Dave Osborne, their best runner this year, number 41, played at North Dakota.
Had a great game last week against the Cleveland Browns.
Bill Brown, the 9-year veteran from Illinois, is number 30, and the remainder of the Vikings with their coach, Bud Grant. And so we have met the defensive unit of the National Football League champions, the Minnesota Vikings. And now the Kansas City Chiefs will be introduced. We start with the left defensive end, Jerry Mays, number 75.
One of 4 members of the Kansas City defensive unit who played in the 1966 Super Bowl.
Shirley Culp is at left tackle, number 61.
6'1", 265, the quickest of the front 4 for Kansas City.
Here's the biggest man on the field, Buck Buchanan, number 86 at right tackle.
6'7" and 275 pounds from Grambling. He doesn't need to get the passer down. He can just stand up in front of him.
Number 87 is Aaron Brown, the right defensive end for the Chiefs.
6'5" and 265, and what a game he had last week against the Oakland Raiders.
Now we'll check the linebackers. And that's Bobby Bell, number 78 at the left side.
And Bud Grant, the Minnesota coach, said this is probably the finest linebacker in football.
In all of football, that is. And now the middle linebacker is Willie Lanier, number 63.
Tough hitter is Willie Lanier. In the middle, good speed, 6'1", 245, a 3-year man.
Here's a Notre Damer, Jim Lynch, number 51 at right linebacker.
This is a man that Oakland tried to work on last week without success, we might add. A fine outside linebacker.
At the left corner is a rookie, Jim Marcellus, number 40.
Kansas City's #1 draft choice of this past year, a man who plays up close to the offensive receiver.
The strong safety is Jim Kearney, number 46.
Kearney, too, of course, with excellent speed. This is number 18, Emmett Thomas.
They've gone to the other cornerback, Thomas at the right corner. And now, this is Kearney, the strong safety, number 46 from Prairie View.
Kearney was a quarterback in college for the great receiver Otis Taylor.
And they are introducing Johnny Robinson. He may or may not play, number 42.
And a roar for Robinson, of course, because he is from LSU. Played his collegiate football there. He's the quarterback of their defensive unit.
The Kansas City Chiefs and Coach Hank Strand. Temperature is 53 degrees here in New Orleans, and they say no more rain after a very rainy morning. We'll be ready for the start of today's Super Bowl game in just a moment.
Attention. Your attention, please. Will the owner of the 1970 Chevrolet Impala please report to gate 7? Your car is blocking the exit. That's the red Impala custom coupe with black vinyl roof cover. One with a hidden radio antenna, hidden windshield wipers. Chevy with deluxe wheel covers and dual white striped tires. The Impala with a 350 cubic inch standard V8 and turbo hydromatic transmission. 1970 Chevy custom coupe with rich saddle color interior. The one with...
If you're about to buy your first new car, here's a fact. The resale value of General Motors cars is traditionally higher.
What trade-in do you have? Like new. Oh, is that it? Come on.
That means when you trade, you get more of your investment back. That's not a claim. That's a fact. And it's one reason why more people who start with this mark stay with this mark. Car after car.
In the center of the field, the representatives of the two teams and John McDonough, who's the referee, the Minnesota Vikings have won the toss, and they have elected to receive. Jim Lindsay from Minnesota, number 21, Grady Alderman, 67, and Jim Marshall, number 70, representing the Vikings, who, by the way, are the visiting team here today. And they have elected to receive Kansas City with Lenny Dawson, number 16, Jerry Mays, 75, Jim Tyre, 77, and Buck Buchanan, 86. And the Chiefs are the home team for this Super Bowl game. In the stands today are some of our astronauts from Apollo 11. And on the playing field, John Mackey, the outstanding receiver and tight end of the Baltimore Colts, who is the president of the National Football League Players Association, has a presentation to make to the astronauts from Apollo 12. And they are Alan Bean, Pete Conrad, and Dick Gordon. They are here today, and they are to be honored by the National Football League Players Association.
And Captain Alan Bean.
Three captains, the three astronauts, Alan Bean, Pete Conrad, and Dick Gordon, receive a standing ovation from those here in the Sugar Bowl. And we have about 80,000. We'll get the figure, of course, before the afternoon is over. And our three national heroes from Apollo 12 are on the playing field and being given a presentation by John Mackey of the Baltimore Colts. When this is completed, Mr. Pat O'Brien, he of Notre Dame motion picture fame, will recite our national anthem.
And a lifetime membership in our new National Football League.
We're going to hear the Stars and Stripes, and then the national anthem will be played by the Southern University Band, which is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. John Mackey with his presentations to the three astronauts. added spice to the wooing here for the Super Bowl game. Now the Southern University band will be featured.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Severinsen, Pastor Bryant.
Doc Severinsen will join the group that I have already mentioned to you. Mr. Kelly James is directing the Southern University band. And now our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright skies through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say that the star-spangled banner is raised for the land of the free and the hope of the brave.
A thrilling moment here at the Super Bowl with Pat O'Brien, Doc Severinsen, and the Southern University band. Now the field will be cleared in a hurry. The two teams go back to their final huddle, and Kansas City will be kicking off to the Vikings. And Pat Summerall, that initial momentum is so important in a game like this because even though the emotions are running high for sure on the part of both clubs, this momentum is not an automatic thing.
Certainly isn't, and that moment of excitement continues until that first contact is made. We might tell you that is John Stenerud, of course, back to receive for Minnesota. Clinton Jones is number 26, and Charlie West is number 40. Stenerud will be kicking off with the wind at his back. Temperatures in the mid-50s. We had rain this morning. We expect no more.
Stenerud should get the ball to the goal line, and you can see that the two receivers, Clinton Jones and Charlie West, who are both very dangerous, are in the end zone waiting. The referee, John McDonough, says, let her go. And we hope you enjoy the Super Bowl from New Orleans here on CBS. John Stenerud. Booms one deep into the end zone. And over the end line goes Charlie West, and the Vikings will run from the 20-yard line. By the way, Charlie West, of whom you'll see a lot before this day is over, is considered perhaps the best athlete on this Minnesota club. There are so many outstanding players to tell you about. We're going to do our best as we go along. First, we'll set the Minnesota offense. Joe Kapp, number 11. Dave Osborne is back there with him as a running back, number 41. Bill Brown, number 30. We'll check the wide receivers. Gene Washington is number 84, and he comes to the right side. And John Henderson goes left. The tight end, John Beasley, is on the left side. Our first play from scrimmage goes to Dave Osborne. And he got about 3 yards as he tried to slide along the line of scrimmage and find some running room. And one of the hits was made by Emmett Thomas, who came up from the corner, and Johnny Robinson is not starting for the Chiefs.
Now, this is something that, as you look at the Kansas City defense, it's sort of a new defense for Minnesota to look at, in that there will always, or about 65% of the time, I should say, there will be a man in front of the offensive center. Now they go to a regular standard type 4-3.
Osborne picked up 2 at 2nd and 8. Now the wide receivers have switched sides, and here's our first pass. And it's to the trailer, Osborne, who gets a first down at the 32-yard line. And Minnesota does like to throw to their running back.
That particular time, Kansas City sent Jim Lynch back to help Emmett Thomas in the coverage of Gene Washington, who was set to that side. Lynch had to drop off and then pick up Osborne. Both of those two setbacks, Brown and Osborne, are good receivers.
Did you say that Oakland tried to work on Lynch last week?
That's what we were told, and Lynch did an excellent job. Charlie Smith caught some in front of him early in the game, but Lynch shut him off pretty much after that.
Willie Lanier came over from the middle linebacker to help Lynch on that last play. He'll pick up at 10 yards. to the 32, first and 10. Henderson right, Washington left, and Brown runs with the ball for the first time, and Lynch wrapped him up. The linebacker was right there with the defensive end, and even though Bill Brown did get by Aaron Brown, number 87, Lynch was there for the stop on the play. Well, it looked like that play did very little, but actually picked up 3 yards, 2nd and 7.
That's the kind of runner both Brown and Osborne are. As you get a look at the Kansas City bench, it'll look like they're stopped at the line of scrimmage, but they are so strong themselves, when they unpile, they'll have 2 or 3 yards.
From the 35-yard line, 2nd and 7, Washington left, Henderson right. Beasley, the tight end, is on the right side. Go off at center. Cap straight back on 2nd down. He's running and throwing, and it is caught by Beasley, the tight end. 45, 40, 39-yard line. Cap looked like he was in big trouble, but he showed you a quick release, and they keep criticizing his quarterbacking, but he always seems to get it done. Jim Lynch made the tackle again along with Lanier.
And Cap showed you also that time that tremendous ability that he does have. Beasley, without doubt, was not his first choice as a receiver. He started to come out of the pocket. He saw Beasley open, and he got the ball to him.
Pat, you could see the Kansas City defense react to those 2 quick steps that Cap took also.
Well, they are, of course, in addition to being a tremendous defensive front four, very quick.
The ball to the 39-yard line for a first down for Minnesota. It's their 2nd of the afternoon. Kansas City faking the blitz. And Osborne running behind Milt Sunday, and he is stopped for a loss of a yard on the play. That front four of the Kansas City Chiefs is tough, and Jim Kearney, the safety man, number 46, came up to help them out. They're about as solid up front as any football club could be.
And just about as big as any football club could be, too. Jerry Mays, Curly Culp, Buck Buchanan, Aaron Brown. As I look now, Johnny Robinson is in the Kansas City secondary, Jack.
Johnny Robinson is number 42, and he's playing that free safety, and he's a valuable member of these Chiefs. The ball is at the 38, 2nd down and 9. Kansas City has stopped the first down plays. 2nd down plays have hurt them, and here's another. A little swing out here to Bill Brown. And what a good hit was made by the linebacker, but Brown broke the tackle, and he got away from the outside linebacker, Bobby Bell, and Jerry Mays made the tackle. Bill Brown didn't gain much yardage, but he avoided the loss. He got back to the line of scrimmage, and it's 3rd and 9.
And I'll tell you something. He got away from Bobby Bell, who is supposed to be, and is, without doubt, one of the finest open field tacklers anywhere in football. Brown got away from a tough man when he got away from Bell. 3rd and 10 now. Kansas City, not a team that's known to blitz a lot. But they might come this time to try to get Fred Cox out of field goal range. If he tried from here, it'd be about 46 yards.
And he would be kicking into the wind, and so this is a very important 3rd down, as all 3rd downs are. We're here early in the game, no score. Chiefs haven't touched the ball. 3rd and 9, and the fake running play. Cap rolls left and throws, and Beasley couldn't hang on. Beasley was in heavy traffic. He's the one that caught the pass earlier, and as you would expect, it was the strong safety staying with him, Jim Kearney, and it's 4th down.
And that's something that you'll also see Kansas City do quite a bit of. That rollout, that short rollout is what Kansas City calls it, what Minnesota calls it. Kansas City calls it their famous moving pocket, but it's the same type of maneuver.
And if they're rolling while the other team is blitzing, that's when things happen.
And that's when he can get away from the blitz if he's quick enough, and both quarterbacks are.
It's a punting situation, and Bob Lee, who averaged 40 yards per punt during the year, is the kicker. And Mike Garrett goes deep, along with McVay, number 6. That one was almost blocked. The ball bounces out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. It didn't appear that the punter was anxious to get the ball up in the air for the Kansas City receivers. This telecast is presented by authority of the National and American Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National and American Football Leagues is prohibited. Kansas City Chiefs are on offense now with their quarterback, Lenny Dawson, number 16. We'll have Mike Garrett back there with him, number 21, and Robert Holmes, number 45. They come out and line up in the eye as they usually do. And we'll see if they shift. They do. They do a relatively standard T formation. And Holmes is the first to carry the ball for the Chiefs. Robert Holmes, number 45. Listen when I give you the statistics on Holmes. 5'9" and 220 pounds.
You might have noticed just before that play started at number 29 for Minnesota, Carl Koselke had lined up on the wrong side of the field and had to make a last-minute adjustment. This is just what Kansas City hopes to do with those last-minute shifts that they do when they line up in the eye and then send the receivers to the outside. Kaselke, for the most part of today, will wind up covering Otis Taylor with some help, no doubt.
2nd down and 7 from the 20-yard line for the Chiefs. Arbanis, the tight end, goes to the right side. Otis Taylor is also to the right side, and Dawson goes to the air. And Garrett caught across the 30 and out of bounds at the 37-yard line, and we have seen comparable patterns from both teams throwing to those backs coming out of the backfield.
One of the few mistakes that you'll see made by a defense, as Garrett was wide open as he came out of the backfield. He had to be covered by one of the linebackers because the wide receiver, Pitts, went deep. So it should have been Hilgenberg's man.
And Schrockman had to come up from the corner to make the tackle. Hilgenberg, by the way, number 58, has the best range of any of the Minnesota linebackers, but he was taken out of that play, and it's at the 36, a first down for the Chiefs. Arbanis to the right side with Otis Taylor. Number 25, Frank Pitts, was tight on the left side, and Holmes, whom they call the Tank, goes straight ahead for a couple. He ran into Alan Page, number 88. Page is number 88. Gary Larson plays the other tackle, number 77. Carl Eller at left defensive end, number 81. And Jim Marshall at the right defensive end, closest to you now, number 70. The 2nd down play, 2nd and 7 for Kansas City. No score, 9:45 left in the first quarter. They'll run out of this power I, but they shift this time. Arbanis and Taylor to the right side. Dawson to Garrett. Garrett on that slant with those fast feet of his, and he crossed the 40-yard line. Gary Larson wrapped him up, tackled him. But you could see there that Garrett can really blow through that line, and the Minnesota coach, Bud Grant, was talking about these small, shifty running backs of the Chiefs.
Talking about how they hide behind that tremendous front line of Kansas City. Except for the center holdup, they're all 6'5" or bigger. The biggest around in any business. Garrett, you might recall, if you watched the Super Bowl in 1966, gave Green Bay a lot of trouble throughout the day.
3rd down and 2.5 from the 44. And Dawson hits Pitts with a pass down the sideline. Inside the 40 to the 35-yard line before Wally Hilgenberg, number 58, tackled him. That was 3rd and short yardage in the first surprise call of the day.
Pitts, of course, has great speed. Here he is being covered by Schrockman. Just a quick turnout, and Schrockman come up just in time to have Pitts spin away from him.
It's no secret that they intend to work on Schrockman because Bobby Bryant usually plays that corner. Schrockman lost his job to Bryant, but Bryant is out and not in uniform today. A first down from the 36. Dawson is flicked by the outside linebacker, Roy Winston, and he did not miss, did he? A first down blitz, and Roy Winston came blowing in.
What a play he made. Watch him jump over the offensive blocker. That's Holmes. We told you he was short. Winston, 60, comes right over the top. Dawson had no chance.
That's a flying blitz on a part of Roy Winston, who, by the way, is only 5'11", and one of the shortest linebackers in pro football. A substantial loss back to the 44-yard line, making it 2nd down and 18. They told us, Pat, that Dawson had a tremendous week of practice.
Without doubt, he had a lot on his mind throughout this week, but in talking to the coaches before the game and during the week, they say that they have never seen him throw the ball better.
He'll be throwing now, in all probability, on 2nd and 18. Otis Taylor wide to the right, Pitts the split left. The draw to Garrett. The tackle was made by Alan Page, and because he made the tackle on a draw play, it points out his role in that front four of the Vikings.
There's Jim Valone along the Viking bench, the offensive guard. Page, whom Jack Buck was just talking about, is sort of the policeman of the Minnesota front four. He plays the draw and the screen extremely well as giving them a good inside pass rush.
The ball is at the Minnesota 41-yard line. The blitz really changed that around a while ago, didn't it? And it's 3rd down and 15 for the Chiefs. This first period is half over. Dawson, good protection, swings one out, and it was batted down, I think, by Jim Marshall, who got his hands up. And it is a fourth down play. The clock is stopped with 6:57 remaining in the first quarter, no score.
And keep in mind that the Kansas City field goal kicker has the wind at his back. That's John Stenerud. He has kicked them well over this long. In fact, the one that he tied Lou Groza's record for during the year, that is with the 12 consecutive field goals, he wound up with 16. The one that tied the record was from 52 yards out, so he can reach it. This will be from about 48.
Dawson holding. Stenerud kicked 27 out of 35 this year. But Stenerud booms it there, and it's good. And the city was out in front, and Dawson did a great job of getting that ball down on a snap that came into his midsection. The score, Kansas City 3, Minnesota nothing. Back with the Chiefs kickoff in just a moment.
Come with me for a high-flying look at the 1970 Chevelles. There's one, the 1970 Malibu Sport Coupe, completely new. New front, new rear, new nightmares for the competition. There's the new four-door Malibu. You can see why Chevelle's the most popular car in its field. What you can't see, protective steel guard beams in the doors, and a big new 155 horsepower engine. Both standard in all 70 Chevelles. They're strong movers. And there's the Malibu convertible. What a way to spend a summer day. Malibu interiors for 1970 make apologies to no one. Astro ventilation, new fabrics and colors, and Strato bucket seats you can order. These are just 3 of the 14 great new 1970 Chevelles. Give one a whirl at your Chevrolet dealers now.
That was a record Super Bowl field goal kicked by Stenerud. Pat Summerall will fill you in on it in a moment. Stenerud kicking off now, and the deep men for the Vikings are Clinton Jones, number 26, closest to you, and Charlie West, number 40, at the top of your screen. You'll recall that Stenerud kicked it deep into the end zone on the opening kickoff. Minnesota subsequently had to punt. Kansas City turned it into 3 points. Stenerud does it again. Consistent. In the same spot, West takes it. Tell us about the field goal, Pat.
You did say, Jack, that it was a record field goal for the Super Bowl of 48 yards. The record had been held by Don Chandler of 43 yards, set Green Bay against Oakland in 1968.
Seen anything unusual in the first offensive maneuvers on the part of either club?
Just the fact that there is Stenerud, just the fact that both clubs seem to have the ability to move the ball against the other team's defense. That surprises us a little bit because that was supposed to be the strong facet of each team.
And now Cap with Osborne and with Bill Brown. Dean Washington to the left side as a wide receiver. Don Henderson to the right side. Beasley also to the right. And Cap on a delay to Brown. And he gets only a couple. Buck Buchanan, number 86, met him head on. He is the biggest man on the field at 6'7", 275, and Kearney helped him out. Well, tonight on CBS, To Roam with Love. And then Ed Sullivan swings in with Tiny Tim and his new wife, Miss Vicky. Topping off your Super Sunday, there's more good music and comedy. The Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour, followed by Mission Impossible. All of that later this evening on CBS. Second 7, Minnesota, in their own 23. Look out, Joe Cap, and down he goes with Jerry Mays, the defensive end, getting to him, along with Curly Culp, number 61, the defensive tackle. Third down, long yardage.
And we'll take a look now at that Kansas City rush. 75 is Mays, 61 is Culp. And Culp should be the first man on the scene. It's 75 Mays and then Culp. Mays got by Urey on the right side. 86 arriving a little late is Buck Buchanan.
The ball is at the 17-yard line. It is third down and 13. Washington to the left, Henderson right. 3-0 Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Bill Brown. And the defensive end trailed out there with him. Aaron Brown slowed him down, then got the help that he needed. And the Vikings will punt for the second time this afternoon.
That particular time, Kansas City had put in a 5th defensive back, and I think that defense that Kansas City is using, with a man over the offensive center to occupy him, either Culp or Buchanan, might be causing the Vikings a little bit of trouble with their assignment.
This is Bob Lee standing at his 11-yard line. Garrett and McVeigh are deep for the Chiefs. They're at their own 30. Kicking into the wind, a big rush. And the flag goes down. They got the kicker. And a return on the part of number 22, Willie Mitchell. But this play is going to go back, and roughing the kicker will be called as the Chiefs put on the big rush and did not touch the football, which is the necessary item.
And this is going to be a challenge to the Kansas City defense, because this is the time you crack a defense, when they have to stay in a long time. We'll take another look at that, and you can see Lee's got his leg up, and he's hit by a swarm. I can't tell. It looks like 2 or 3 make contact.
Curly Culp, I believe, is the one who got to the kicker, actually. And a major penalty brings the ball out to the Minnesota 41, and it's an automatic first down. And the Vikings will go from there. We pause 5 seconds for station identification. First down, Vikings. Henderson right. Washington is split left. And on first down, the fake to Osborne. The pass out to Brown. And a good tackle was made by Kearney. The strong safety was right with him. That's one of the attributes that Bill Brown has of the Minnesota Vikings, his ability to catch the football, which is unusual sometimes in a fellow his size.
Gives us an opportunity to point out, too, that although both of these defensive units are very strong, there's one basic difference. Kansas City is basically a man-to-man defense in the secondary. Minnesota is primarily a zone defensive team.
That play picked up only 1 yard. 2nd and 9 from their 42 for Minnesota. Washington left, Henderson right. And Cap back to the air. And swings it to the other side to Osborne. And look at that pursuit. There was the linebacker, Jim Lynch, picking him up. Remember earlier when Osborne caught a similar pass and he was all alone, Lynch wasn't there. He was there that time. How's Cap doing in the passing department, Pat?
He's completed 4 out of 6 for a total of 38 yards, far below his average completion yardage. Pretty good indication, too, here that the Kansas City linebackers are doing an excellent job as you look at offensive tackle Jim Tyre.
The ball is at the Minnesota 44. It's 3rd down and 7. Henderson right, Washington left. Beasley, the tight end, on the right side. And incomplete as Henderson, well, they say he was ridden out by the defense, and there's the difference. Now, he did not get both feet down in bounds, but he was ridden out of bounds by the defense and a completed pass at midfield.
He was hit by 2 defenders. It appeared Jim Marcellus, number 40, the cornerback, hit him first. Henderson, we'll take another look at it right now. Just a simple sideline maneuver. Marcellus fell down. He was hit by Bobby Bell, the linebacker, and by Marcellus, and they took him out of bounds. Kearney was also in on the action.
So even though he completed the pass, it's not a first down, and it's 4th and 1 at midfield, and Bob Lee is punting again. We'll watch the rush. Lee handled the high snap. And Kansas City lets the ball roll, and it's into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. A great effort was made to bat the ball back by Hackbart and keep it from going into the end zone, but the Chiefs will go from their own 20-yard line. There's a timeout, and with the score, Kansas City 3, Minnesota nothing. Let's pause for a moment.
There's a lot that's dreary in my long day, looking for something to take me away. Been working all week with a dream in mind, a dream of escape of a great new kind. Wanna feel happy, wanna feel good. Now I found old escape machine, a great new cutlass called Supreme. When I'm driving free, everything looks fine, and I escape in this Olds of mine.
Hey, you want to escape to high luxury, down in a new size and price within your reach? Check out Cutlass Supreme. It's a new idea in young mobile thinking from Oldsmobile. They don't call it an escape machine for nothing.
You can be happy, you can feel good, really feel happy, really feel.
Joe Camp along the sideline talking it over with Henderson. He was talking with Gary Quazzo a while ago. And now the Chiefs from their own 20. The Chiefs are leading 3-0. Otis Taylor to the right. Shifting out of the eye. That's the fake to Holmes. Garrett slipped and fell. The pass is caught by Pitts beyond the 35-yard line. Garrett, I think, was the primary receiver, Pat, and he slipped and fell when he headed for the sideline, and Dawson picked up Holmes down the middle.
And we can take another look at it right now. Frank Pitts with that great speed, 75, as he is getting past the Chuck of Wally Hilgenberg. Bounced off Lonnie Warwick, the middle linebacker, and by that time, Dawson had the ball there.
Paul Krause made the tackle at the 40, a first down for Kansas City. Frank Pitts caught that last one. Here's the quickie out here. Otis Taylor, and he draws a lot of people. But a big gain on the play. Paul Krause, the tackler once again.
For the most part, Minnesota plans to roll their zone so they can double cover Otis Taylor. That could be one of the reasons for the success of Frank Pitts so far, the Minnesota bench.
Pickup of 9 on the pass to Otis Taylor, and Dawson is holding a hot hand here in the early going of the Super Bowl. 2:06 remaining in the first quarter. Second down and 1. Holmes and Garrett in the eye. Second man Garrett. First down, Kansas City crossing midfield. Gary Larson, the tackler, but did not prevent the first down. There's Hank Stram. He's trying to gain a little revenge, Pat, for an earlier game in the Super Bowl.
That was the first one, the 1966 Super Bowl, Green Bay, Kansas City. Green Bay won 35-10. We might say things have been happening so fast here that we might tell you that there are a few wet spots on the field. We might be seeing some defenders or receivers slipping down. It rained almost all morning here in New Orleans. Hasn't rained for the last couple of hours.
Ball at the 49. Urbanus goes to the right side and Pitts splits left. Dawson at Garrett. Garrett broke 2 tackles, and then he was finally stopped by Gary Larson. He showed you those fast-moving feet of his, and he changed directions 3 different times.
Let's take a look at it again. Ed Buddy, number 71, leading. And it's a trap on the linebacker on that side. It's a trap on Carl Eller, I beg your pardon. And a fine block it was by Ed Buddy, number 71, and some fine running by Mike Garrett.
Garrett is 5'9", 190 from USC, now in his 4th year. The ball is at the 43-yard line. Garrett picked up 5 yards. It's second down and 5. Pitts to the left. Otis Taylor to the right. On a delay to Hole. Down he goes. Carl, number 88, Alan Page, who gives the Vikings that big inside rush, ran right into the delay, and we told you earlier, Pat did, that Page is the policeman on those draw plays and screen passes. We have only 10 seconds left in the first quarter. And Kansas City will not run a play before the gun sounds. The scoreboard clock is official. There's the gun. That's the end of the first quarter with the score, Kansas City 3 and Minnesota 0.
This is Monte Carlo for 70. Chevrolet's whole new field of one. The new car almost everyone can afford.
Jour après jour, plus de gens conduisent des Chevrolets. Et soyez prêts à vous animer, Chevrolet est en train de bouger.
This is Monte Carlo for 70. Chevrolet's whole new field of one. The new car almost everyone can afford. Whether you live in Monte Carlo or Monte Carlo.
Brett Summerall's alongside. I'm Jack Buck. We start the second quarter of the Super Bowl. The ball is at the Vikings 48, and it's 3rd and 9 for Kansas City. The only scoring in the first quarter, a 48-yard field goal by Jan Stenerud. Here's the fake draw. Down the middle pass, and incomplete. Look at those flags come down, and interference is called. Ed Sherachman came over the top and drew the flags as Interference is called against Minnesota.
And again, Dawson was looking for Frank Pitts, number 25, with a good speed and getting single coverage for the most part from Shirachman. And you could see that some contact was made before the ball got there.
Rockman got him with the body. John McDonough, the referee from the American Football League. Lou Palazzi, the umpire from the NFL. Headlinesman Harry Kessel from the American Football League. Joe Schleibaum of the NFL is the line judge. Field judge Charlie Musser of the AFL and the back judge Tom Kelleher of the National Football League. First down pass to the side, and it is caught by the big man Taylor. And he is being covered by Ursel McPhee, number 46, who made the tackle. Taylor is a tough man when he latches onto that football. He's 6'3", 215. In fact, you'd have to rank him 1, 2, 3 as the best pass receiver in pro football.
Just about everybody you talk to about Otis Taylor would tell you that. Dawson was throwing the football. We told you he had a good week in practice. Boy, he's sharp so far. He's hit 5 out of 6 for a total of 73 yards.
And he has the Chiefs at the Minnesota 24. Second down, 3.5. Pitts is wide left. Arvanis to the same side. And a little confusion as Dawson ran into Holmes. Holmes didn't go deep enough on the handoff, and it'll be third down and longer yardage. Pat, I suppose it would amount to an editorial, but to this point you'd have to say that Kansas City is taking the game to them.
Certainly would appear so far. The offensive line for Kansas City is doing an excellent job of protecting Dawson.
More football next week on CBS, the Pro Bowl game, the East versus the West, next Sunday. And you'll see the game at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on CBS from Los Angeles. It's now third down and 4. Dawson throwing into the end zone to Taylor and broken up by McPhee, who is peeved that he didn't pick it off. McPhee, who intercepted 6 times this year, had a crack at it, but with it all, it's a good thing he kept it away from Taylor.
It certainly is. Taylor lost his shoe. You might have seen something flying off in the end zone that looked like a flag, but there is no flag. It was Taylor's shoe which came off. I think if Dawson had been able to pick up Taylor a little bit sooner, he might have had a touchdown because he was open early.
The ball is at the 25, and here's Jan Stenerud to try to make it 6-0. 13:24 left in the half.
And Stenerud's got the disadvantage here of kicking out of one of those muddy spots. This will be 32 yards.
Dawson will spot it. Stenerud kicks it. Good. 6-0 Kansas City. 6-0 Kansas City, and back with the Chiefs kickoff in just a moment.
Toronto.
Introducing
Hold up.
the 1970 Nova.
Out guard. Open, Warriors.
Open the what?
Warriors. Wrong.
Oh, no, that's not what.
That's no Warriors. That's Einsen.
Yeah.
Big Einsen.
Yeah.
Uses up too much petrol, eh?
No, it's very economical.
Open, Warriors.
Oh, he must be in the trunk.
What do you think he is?
There we are. Watch it. Trunk.
That's big, Warriors. So big. Take it out.
It's not so big, it's not.
Lots of rooms. Got what a growing cat.
Grab it. Grab what?
Grab it, rotten.
Oh, the key, yes.
Yabanko!
Chevrolet's 1970 Nova.
Somebody up the boy!
What some people won't do for a test drive.
John Stenerud, number 3, has provided all 6 points in this game. The last one, a 32-yard field goal. The first one, a 48-yarder. 6-0 Kansas City. 13:20 left in the half. And the deep men for Minnesota, Clinton Jones, number 26 at the top, and Charlie West, number 40. This time, Stenerud kicking into the wind. And we'll have a run back by West, who takes it on the fly at the 15-yard line. 25 and crosses the 30. And a fumble, and we'll see if the whistle is blown or not. Evidently, the Vikings still keep the football. Curtis McClinton made the tackle, number 32. The ball was fumbled, but the whistle had blown. From the 32-yard line, the Vikings will go trailing 6-0. There's McClinton who made the tackle, and he's upset about that fumble situation. Washington to the right, Henderson to the left for the Vikings. With Beasley on the left side. Still Brown and Osborne. And that's Osborne. And Curly Culp has the ball carrier run right into his arm. Listen to the figures on Culp, who's number 61. He is 6'1" and weighs 265.
And he's supposed to be the quickest of the front four. There he is in the middle of the defensive huddle. That particular time, Culp was lined up in front of the offensive center for Minnesota, Mitch Kingelhoff. And that's the defense that we talked about that Minnesota is not used to looking at. It occupies the center, who usually is sort of an optional blocker.
Culp is a wrestler in addition to pro football player, and he wrestled Osborne down, 2nd down and 10. Go from the 32. Cap throwing, and a fumble by Henderson. Kansas City has the football as Johnny Robinson picked it up. That's the reason they were so anxious to get this veteran in there. He was over there helping out as the free safety, and he got the fumble.
You can see that Henderson is wide open. He's working against Marcellus. He gets the single coverage. They're doubling Washington. Just a simple turn in. He's hit hard by Marcellus. Robinson on the recovery.
And Bill Brown came back to make the tackle. So the Chiefs, leading 6-0, get the ball at the Minnesota 46-yard line. And additional momentum swings over to the underdog in the Super Bowl. Otis Taylor to the right. Arbanis comes to the right side. It's split left. Now we have Garrett being tackled. So the Minnesota defense starts to hold forth a little bit. Alan Page, the tackler, number 88, and Wendell Hayes is in there for Kansas City. And we can tell you something about Hayes. There's Henderson, who caught the ball and then fumbled it. Trying to drag himself out of the depths. He'll have ample time before this game is over. Wendell Hayes, number 38 in the Kansas City backfield. 6'1", 220. Fifth year from Humboldt State. He's in the middle of that power I. Dawson throwing long for Taylor. Intercepted. Paul Krause went up and got it. So both free safeties have been in the picture here. That's Krause, who's 6'3", and he went up with Taylor and made the interception.
Krause is that free safety that Jack Buck mentioned to you. Looks like Taylor is open, but Krause has great range, good hands, and as he said, 6'3".
There's the timeout, and with the score, Kansas City 6, Minnesota nothing. Let's pause for a moment. Paul Krause, who intercepted 5 times during the regular season, just picked one off here to give Minnesota the ball at their own 7. With Brown and Osborne, Cap calls the signal. And Osborne drives out to the 10-yard line for a pickup of 3. Back, you know, who feels best of all about Minnesota getting the ball back is Henderson, who dropped that ball a while ago and committed the fumble. There's Krause, who came up with the interception. You can see on the playing field the official moving the ball out of an extremely muddy spot. Of course, they do that for both clubs. And he moves it to the hash mark. 2nd, 7, Minnesota at their own 10. Henderson right, Washington left. Cap throwing on for Washington. And incomplete. What a battle between Emmett Thomas, number 18, and Gene Washington. And there's that high arching pass that they talk about from Joe Kapp. He threw that ball from the goal line, threw it about 60 yards.
And here it is again from behind Gene Washington, working against number 18, Emmett Thomas. They call this a fly, and Washington can fly. With that tremendous jumping ability he has, we've seen a lot of completions by Captain Washington during the year like that. But Thomas did an excellent job. There he is.
Thomas is playing the right corner. Now Joe Kapp needs 7 yards. Washington, who just ran that pass pattern, is out. And Bob Grimm, is in his stead to the right side. Flag, too much time. That'll move the ball back to the 5-yard line, half the distance, and make it 3rd down and 12.
And the reason for that penalty is that the Kansas City linebackers, Bell, Lynch, and Lanier, 63, right in the middle of your picture right now, were moving around, changing their defense or making Joe Kapp think that they were changing their defense. He called an automatic at the line of scrimmage and took too much time in doing so.
It's called a procedure penalty against the Vikings. We have 10:22 remaining in the half. Kansas City is leading 6-0 on 2 Stenerud field goals. And now Joe Kapp needs 12 yards on this 3rd down play. He still has Bob Grimm in there to the right side. John Henderson to the left. From the end zone, behind the goalpost, Kapp throws on the run for Grimm, and incomplete. And staying right with Grimm, step for step, was Jim Marcellus, number 40, the rookie cornerback. It's not very often in pro football that a first-year man comes in and takes over the cornerback spot, but Marcellus did. Well, the ever-popular Harlem Globetrotters return to CBS with a special. Actually, it's called The Road to Mexico, covering a trip that the Globetrotters made. And you'll see Globetrotters on the 24th, Saturday, 7:30, 6:30 Central Time. Curly Neal, Meadowlark Lemon, and the others. Always a great show. Here's Bob Lee punting from the end zone. Mike Garrett and Willie Mitchell are deep inside their 45. Kansas City rush, not too concerted. Here's Garrett being blasted at the 44-yard line. Fortunately for the Chiefs, he held onto the football, and Nick Tingelhoff was downfield to make the tackle. But the Chiefs have good field position. There's a timeout with a score. Kansas City 6, Minnesota nothing. Let's pause for a moment.
Like most professionals, Bobby Orr is a perfectionist. He appreciates the perfection he finds in the trim-size Pontiac Le Mans Sport. The comfort of a full-size car, the dash of a sports machine, a price that most new car buyers can afford. The interior, typically Pontiac, a set of snug buckets, upper-level ventilation, instruments that inform you at a glance, very sumptuous surroundings for a very capable performer. Its trim wheelbase and wide stand seem to straighten the curves, and under the hood you can command up to 400 cubic inches. Pontiac Le Mans Sport, the new pace setter of the trim size field.
Hi, Bobby. You're late tonight, aren't you? Well, I thought I'd take the long way home, just for the drive.
Kansas City Chiefs, who were stopped the last time they had the ball by a pass interception, take over again at the Viking 44 with the 1st down. Line up in the power I and a rather tight key. And they run from that, and here comes Pitts on the end around. McBee latches onto him, but not until he got to the 25-yard line, and it didn't take him long to get there, did it? He's the speed man on the Kansas City team.
And he was lined up at tight end. We'll take another look at it. You'll see Pitts at the top of your screen, 25. The motion starts in the other direction. Good fake by the setback. Out in front is Mormon. Kansas City taking advantage, I think, of the tremendous pursuit which Carl Eller always puts when the play goes in the opposite direction. Tackled finally by McBee and Krause, 22.
The ball at the 25 for a Kansas City 1st down. Boy, that play really blew out of there. Somebody evidently moved, and it was Page. Page is claiming that he was drawn offside. We'll see what the final result is. 5 yards to the 20, 1st and 5. We have 9:58 remaining in the half. Boy, Kansas City leading 6-0 now. Get any kind of a score here, Pat. Be in great shape.
Sure would. Kansas City showing a lot of poise. Minnesota appears to be a little bit on edge at the moment, wouldn't you say?
They appear to be. And that Kansas City shift might have drawn the Vikings that last time. It's 1st and 5 from the 20. Wendell Hayes shifts with Garrett. Urbanus goes to the left side. There's another busted play, the second of the day for Kansas City. Dawson wanted to hand it off. Closest man to it was our cameraman. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Gary Larson made the tackle. The Minnesota defense. And along the sideline, the offense waiting to get back in there and get back into action. 26 is Clinton Jones. Number 35 is Bill Harris, who's on the specialty teams for the Vikings. Second down and 5. Taylor is split right only a couple of yards. Frank Pitts is wide to the left. And how about the tackle of Dawson after the handoff by Alan Page? He was right on top of Dawson, who was fortunate to get rid of the football to Wendell Hayes, who carried to the 19-yard line. Alan Page was really roaring in there, and Jim Marshall finally made the tackle on Wendell Hayes.
Page apparently still a little upset about that penalty called against him a few minutes ago. Dawson must have made an excellent fake. Hayes wound up with the football. They tell us that Hayes is the quickest of the 4 running backs that Kansas City utilizes. And when you're quicker than guys like McVay and Mike Garrett, you're pretty quick.
3rd down and 4. Here's the delay to Hayes. He did not get the 1st down, and we'll see how the Chiefs play it. Will they try for a field goal for the 3rd time? Wally Hilgenberg, the outside linebacker, along with Roy Winston, helping out up front, and Stenerud back into the game. Earlier, he kicked one for 48 yards for a Super Bowl record. Added to it with a 32-yarder.
One bit of cause for alarm for Kansas City fans is that the offensive right tackle for their offensive unit, 73, Dave Hill, left the field limping that time. His backup man is Fred Urbanus. And if Urbanus has to play offensive tackle, well, we'll just have to see what happens.
They're changing a football. Kansas City team requested it, and the officials allowed them to do so. Dawson will hold it to 25, and Stenerud will try to make it 3 for 3. 7:57 left in the half. Good again. The score is now Kansas City 9 and Minnesota nothing. And back with the Kansas City kickoff in just a moment.
Hey, a new Pontiac.
It's my new Catalina. How's that for style, Wilson? Note the wide track for a better ride. Fiberglass belted tires, and there's a steel guardrail in that door.
How much you have to pay for all that?
Money isn't everything, Wilson.
It only takes a little to move up a lot at your Pontiac dealers, and he'll show you the prices.
Ordered power windows, too.
Do you believe that the comfort and luxury of a car's interior is just as important as its styling? Pontiac does, and it shows. Only the finest materials qualify for a Pontiac interior, like rich Pomona brocade and the soft, supple beauty of expanded Morocite. So pamper yourself with a Pontiac. Such a nice place to come home to.